What is real? How do you define real?
Like everyone else, you were born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
The Fashion Matrix Podcast with Pablo Mentor.
Wake up and be free.
Welcome everyone to the Fashion Matrix Podcast. This is Pablo Mentor, your host. Remember that you can follow me at Pablo Mentor all over social media, or go to pablomentor.com or stylesystems.com. I'm actually live right now on my Instagram. I haven't done a live in a while because I'm being censored. I'm being shadow banned like a motherfucker, right? Like you have no idea. People are struggling finding my posts, my content because of what I believe in, because of what I'm doing. People can't see, right? And it's bullshit, man. That's bullshit. It's there's no such thing as freedom of speech when it comes to social media, because apparently what I say goes against the guidelines. Like, it doesn't have to be about the jab, if you know what I'm saying. It could be about anything. They just censor the shit out of me, which is stupid, right? But then when you have people, impersonating your own accounts or other people or my friends, and they don't do anything about that. Or then you have like literally porn. I've seen nudes on fucking Instagram and they don't do shit about that. But then here comes a motherfucker who's trying to spread some truth and just basically expressing himself, or expressing myself in this case, and you get banned and you get censored for that shit. I think that's stupid. I think that's incongruent as shit. But anyway, for today's episode, I wanted to talk about something that happened to me. Basically, every episode that I do, it has to do with my own experience, which I highly recommend you do the same shit. If you study the Toltecayotl, which is the ancient wisdom of America, right? Before it was known as America, it was called Anahuac. And my ancestors, they had this teaching. One of the first teachings is become a person of your own experience. What does that mean? Don't take it for granted. Don't take shit for granted. If you listened it to in a podcast or in a seminar or your neighbor or your mom or your girlfriend, whoever the fuck said it, put it to the test. Make it yours. Experience it on your own terms and then talk about it. And then you actually say something about it, right? Otherwise, you're just regurgitating bullshit, literally. Oh, but he said, she said, whatever the fuck, right? So what you got to do is become a person of your own experience. So every episode on my podcast, it comes from my own experience. And it has to do with the image of brands. Listen to me carefully, all right? The first thing, people believe that image is just about how you look. Wrong. Straight up wrong. It has to do with it, of course, but it's beyond just appearances, okay? And it's beyond personal appearances, because image also has to do with literally everything, as a brand, an institution. So me, a professional image consultant, I've worked with brands and I've taught them how to take care of their image beyond just their logo, right? Because it could be something so beautiful. They can have a beautiful logo. They can have even their products, they're beautiful. I don't know, they can taste phenomenal, or they can make you look good. What the fuck they're selling, right? Let's say that their image, their physical appearance, that what you can see with your eyes, it's perfect, right? They have the most beautiful logo, they have the most beautiful store, and even the social media, and even the website that they have, everything is fine. But then, and this is what I really want to talk about, because this is what happened to me, customer service. How they make you feel, the experience of the brand permeates on their image. Wouldn't you agree? Because again, you can enter a store that is beautiful. You can buy a product that is beautiful. But if the experience of this whole thing, maybe the salesman or the salesperson didn't treat you, make you feel good or important or heard or whatever the fuck, the experience of it all will make you feel, or will create an image. It will create an impact of their image, right? You will say, man, I don't know, their product is cool, but I don't like them for some reason. And remember, the best type of advertising is word from word to word, or mouth to mouth, right? If I have a perfect experience of brand, I'm going to talk about good about that brand, right? I'm going to go to my friends, to my neighbors, to my family, and going to say, hey man, this brand is the best. You know why? Because they make me feel like I matter. Like, you know, I had a great experience of it all. It was not just because it looks beautiful. It was the whole thing. So what do I say about, why do I want to talk about this? So I bought a product, right? And it was supposed to be vegan, right? This is very important, right? This is actually very, very, you could even say dangerous and pretty serious stuff. So I bought a healthy snack, in quotes, right? I wanted a healthy snack, and I looked at the label. I looked at the front of the product, and it was beautiful. You know, good. The quality of the bag and the logo was good, and it said right there in the front, vegan, non-GMO, all these things that are now trendy. You know, for a healthy snack. And it was a quinoa with raw cacao snack, right? So I was like, oh man, this is good, right? Just a healthy snack. And it said no milk products, of course, because it's vegan. None of that shit. So I bought it, and then you have to get used at reading the small letters, right? You have to get used at reading the fine printing, and looking at not just the front side of the product. And this actually also applies to even people, but I'll talk about that in a moment. So I turn the product, and then I start looking at the ingredients, which is something that you have to do if you want to take care of your health, right? And there it goes, there it shows, it said that it has in it, it contains milk. I was like, come on, man, this is bullshit. On the front, it says it's vegan. On the front, it says it contains no milk at all. And then on the back, on the ingredients, it says it contains milk. Well, I could actually sue their ass, right? Because they're lying to me, literally, and they're selling that shit. So that's wrong, right? That is wrong. Now, picture that on other brands or even in yourself, because you may look phenomenal, right? Yeah, especially with social media. You're listening to this maybe on my podcast, and you're like, man, this shit is good. But then if you actually meet me and I'm a piece of shit and I'm totally incongruent with who the fuck I present on my social media, then what the hell do you think is going to happen in your mind's eye, or in your eyes, the perception of me in your mind? What do you think is going to happen? You're not going to trust me, right? You're going to say, man, this guy is lying to me. That is image. Right? It's not just looking beautiful. That is image, which is unfortunately something that happens in today's world a lot because of social media. Right? You see a lot of influencers, you see a lot of entrepreneurs and all these things, and on their social media, they put the best of them, right? Oh man, everything is cool, everything is beautiful, look at me, oh my God, blah, 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 which is good, yeah, okay. But you and I know that it's not true. Life is not just sunshines and rainbows, right? So we are lacking authenticity, right? That's what we're lacking in today's world. We're lacking raw, real shit. And then when you stumble across people like, I don't give a fuck. I cuss and I present to you as it is. Sometimes it's too much for people because they're used to being lied, which is why in their brands now it's happening. It's the same thing. It's a representation of what's happening in society. So there you go. You buy something it's supposed to be vegan and whatever the fuck. I'm not saying that you're supposed to be vegan or whatever the fuck. I'm saying you buy something, right? And you go along with the image, and then you realize they're lying. It's not that. So I was like, man, the second thing that I want to talk about is your voice needs to be heard. Don't shut up. Don't shut up, man. Your voice is very important. Very important. Even if it's not being heard. Let me tell you something. You are hearing yourself. All right? It doesn't matter if no one is watching this. It doesn't matter if no one is listening to this. What it matters is that I'm listening to myself. So every single opportunity that you have to make your voice heard, even by yourself, take it. Take it, all right? Because I could have been like, well, fuck it. It wasn't even that the money that I spent on the fucking snack. It wasn't that. It was like every opportunity that I get to voice out my mind, I take it. Whether it's something small or whether it's something big, which is why I'm being censored, right? Because I stand my ground and I say what the fuck I want to say, and I talk about my values and I stand my ground. I use the power of my voice, which is something that most people are not doing in today's world as well. They're afraid. They're afraid of their own voice, which is, I don't know, man. I don't want to talk about that because that alone could be a whole nother episode, all right? So I said, well, I'm going to call them. I'm going to send them a message. And here's something that happened, right? To my surprise, the owner of the brand responded to me. I'm like, hey, this is totally wrong. I'm sorry about this, man. I'm sorry that this happened to you. This is completely wrong. You're right. And I wasn't being a Karen, you know what I'm talking about. I wasn't being a Karen, like, hey, you motherfuckers, I'm gonna sue you. This is wrong. Blah, blah, give me my money back. No. I was just like, hey, man, this is wrong what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? This is fucking wrong. You can't be lying to people with this shit, all right? So just stop. If you keep doing this, then yeah, I might take some legal actions because this is wrong. But that was not the point. And why do I say to my surprise? It's because customer care, for the most part, in most brands, it's shitty as fuck, right? They don't give a fuck about that. As long as they're getting paid, they don't give a fuck about how they make you feel. It's very rare to find a brand that actually hears you and that makes you feel like you're important, even if you're a nobody, right? You're not, because sometimes you are left with the feeling that, well, I'm just another buck for them, because I'm not important, because I'm not rich, or I'm not, someone who's famous. They're not going to listen to me. They're like, I don't give a fuck, man. Which is what most brands do. They're like, yeah, whatever. Here's your money back. Fuck away from me. What happened with this brand, it was actually the opposite. I could communicate with the owner because this is wrong. Yeah, this is serious. But he said, well, this is totally wrong. I apologize. Let me know what I can do. And I was like, yeah, you just, stop doing this shit. And he explained to me that something wrong happened, right? This was an older version of their product, and the moment they realized this was happening, they had to take away all of their products and recall them because they had to change the ingredients, change the labels, change the recipe, and blah 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 blah. It was basically, this is a quinoa. Yeah, I think I read it right. It's a quinoa with cacao. Anyway, that's not the point. So I engaged in a conversation with the owner of this brand, which is actually called Bar Bowl or Bowl Bar. I forgot. I have to check it on my social media. But anyway, to my surprise, right? Because normally what happens is that they don't give a fuck, and this has to do with their image. Remember that, especially if you're a business owner. If you're a business owner and you're paying attention to the sales, and you're paying attention to the financial statements and all these things that happen, and maybe you're just paying attention to the brand, to the logo. Maybe you're just paying attention to how the website looks. Maybe you're just paying attention to how the actual product looks. Maybe you're just paying attention to how the store looks. But remember, customer care is very important because that actually permeates on the image of and the reputation eventually of your brand. All right? Remember, an image sustained over a period of time becomes your reputation, and your reputation basically becomes your identity. Okay? So if you have a bad reputation, it becomes who you are. Man, this brand is shitty. Even if the product itself is beautiful, it tastes very good, you're going to have a bad reputation and people are not going to buy it. So pay attention to that. It reminded me that, man, customer care is very important. And if you're working on that, or if you're a business owner, if you're selling some products or some service, remember that you have to make people leave with that emotion that you care about them. It's not just another commission. It's not just another sale. It's not just some buck, the quick buck, all right? You have to understand that. Because, people forget about anything, especially in today's world, that they're overstimulated with social media and blah, 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 so many products out there. You got to remember that they will forget about how it looks, your brand. They will forget about whatever the fuck you say, right? But they will not forget about how you make them feel. It's the feeling, the emotion of the experience of buying your product as a brand. So customer care, that's when it comes in, okay? It's not just, you just bought the product, now what else? No, maybe, send them a message. Hey, this did my product work for you? You know, what's going on? How did it work for you? Is there anything else I can do for you? That will set you apart almost immediately, right? Almost immediately, because they will end up feeling important. And when you make another person feel important, guess what? They'll return. They'll want to buy more. They'll become fans instead of just a customer. If you look at them as a person instead of just a customer, they become fans. And then they talk good about your shit. They talk good about your brands, about your service, about your products, whatever the fuck, right? So that is the message that I wanted to transmit for today's episode, okay? Customer care. Think about how you make them feel. Think about the attention that you put on not just the product itself, not just the sales, the sale itself, not just the money, not just the how it looks, okay? And not just as a brand, but also as a person. Remember that, because if you pay attention to what I just said, the cover of the product was beautiful, but then when I turned it and I started reading the ingredients, it was completely incongruent. Maybe that happens with you as well, right? You look beautiful, but then as a person on the inside, you're not at the same level. It's not congruent. How many times has this happened to you? You see someone and it looks legit, but then when you start talking to them, you see like they're just full of shit. Well, there's got to be a balance. It's not that one is more important than the other one. It's that both are important. You can't be lying to people, whether you have a product as a brand or as a person. Personally, you cannot individually. You cannot be a lying sack of shit, just putting on things as a facade, just to be fake, just to make them attract them, and then boom, just lying to them right in their faces. No. It's gotta be congruence, all right? Whatever the fuck you say, however you present it, and whatever you think, it's gotta be aligned. So I'm here to remind you as your image consultant, it doesn't matter what you are. It does not matter what you sell. It doesn't matter what type of brand you have, or you personally, what type of style you have. What matters is that you stick with it, that you know yourself, you know your brand, you are true to it, you stay true to your values, you stay true to your own brand, to the values and the core values of your brand and on yourself as an individual. And then the third thing is to be congruent, to actually stick with it, to actually say what you think, to actually be who you present you are on social media, or when you're on a networking event. Actually be that, right? Be real, basically, which is rare. That's exactly why I wanted to make this podcast episode, to say like, hey, I had this problem with this brand, but then they had, of course, the image that I had of that brand immediately went to shit. I was like, man, they're lying to me. But then after I talked to the owner of the brand, I was like, oh man, you know what, this is cool. And then they send me back some of their products with a new recipe and whatever. So shout out to them. And at the end of the day, I was like, okay, man, this is cool. And it also works with your communication. Give them a chance. Don't become a carrot and just be like, hey, yeah, you lying sack of shit. No. Remember, you're dealing with human beings, and human beings fuck up. So communicate. Learn to have disagreements and learn to have communication, proper communication, which is what I did. I didn't tell them, hey, fuck you, you were just, you lied to me. You said that you had a vegan product, and then I realized it's not a vegan product. You motherfucker, you lied to me. Give me my money. No. I was like, hey, this is wrong. What's up? And then I had a conversation with them, and, problem solved. And now I'm going to buy more of their shit. So that is the message for today. Let me take my social, because I was live. Goodbye, guys. Boom. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Boom, there you go. And now I just ended my live on Insta, which, man, it's been a long time since I don't do a live on my Instagram or on my social media. I think it's even longer since I do a live on my Facebook. Long as shit. Because, yeah, I was sick of being censored. I was like, man, fuck this shit. But anyway, you got to do what you got to do. Thank you for listening. Be the best version of yourself. Remember that this is the Fashion Matrix podcast. And you can follow me at Pablo Mentor if you can find me. Also go to pablomentor.com for my own personal coaching products and coaching things that I've been doing. If you want to follow my actual company that I have, and the one that is actually sponsoring this podcast, which is Style Systems, you can go to Style Systems, double S at the end, stylesystems.com. And you can find out about the seminars, about the books, about the products, and about the conferences that I'm doing. I'm holding another conference probably in June, mid-June, on Miami. So if you're there, I highly recommend that you go. And I'm gonna do a couple of networking events over there while I'm there in America. So yeah, go to stylesystems.com so you can find out everything. Thank you for listening. Be the best version of yourself, and until the next one.